Okay, here we are back in my studio talking about rotary valve trumpets. One thing I wanted to say about this wonderful instrument that I'd been playing in the last YouTube is that it was built for me, put together here in Germany by Mr. Heinz Poggensee. Wonderfully done with double triggers, handmade. This is handmade. Even the screws for this instrument are handmade. This is all hand hammered, one piece. This is not something that's done in a factory. It's a one man who did this. And this particular model has a bell changeable system that only needs one screw. If I release this screw and take the bell away, you can see that it looked like it had really stable and perfectly soldered braces, which are very important for the resonance of the instrument. But you can see how that it comes together. Can you get this, please, Mike? How this comes together? You see what I'm doing? Mike?
Yep.
Okay. Now I'll concentrate a little bit more on what I'm doing myself. Oh, come on. Yep, there we are. You know, here we are. There we are. There's the way it goes together. So, and this screw just goes over here like this, one screw. And as I pull it down, it gets more and more stable. Not at all. See, that's why I didn't get this right. That's the way it should work. I'm sorry. Simple as that. But it's robust, and despite my stupidity, just now trying to put it together, no harm done. So it has another sound and another resonance. And so comparing this, which is more like an old, actually the direction of the Cologne model of rotary valve that I showed in the last YouTube, this one here, that they would play, for example, in Gürzenich. And this is more, this bell is more like the Berlin model. So, or actually, some might even say East German, West German idea, because the Kranz is more of an East German kind of a thing. A lot of instruments, like, for example, the old Heckels and Windisch had these kind of things. But what I wanted to say is this is extremely well put together and well done. This is all hand hammered, and these triggers are wonderful. The first valve trigger on a rotary valve trumpet is something that I developed that I thought very necessary. For example, just to play in tune. Most people don't have a trigger on the first. They pull the thing out with so it has a little knob here, and you pull it out with your thumb and have to push it in with the flat of your hand. It's just completely problematic. If I play something a little bit more virtuose, or where the intonation is important, some very important. Let me just grab a French etude out of maybe from Theo Charlier. Actually, he's Belgian, not French. Many people don't know that either. But to make a long story short, if I can just grab that, I'll just put it on this stand here and play something from there. Here's something number 2 from his Theo Charlier. Theodore, Charlie, his 36 etudes. It's number 2. I just want you to observe the movement of the slides for the intonation. Now, if you can't move the first valve slide, you can't play the A's and the E's and different notes in tune where they resonate. Of course, you can bend the notes around, and if you have more of a funnel kind of a cup, or want to work with your embouchure like in tongue position like they did in the Baroque period, that's fine. But I want an instrument that resonates. And the better it resonates, the better I can play in tune, the more I can express myself in the music and display the harmony and the progression of the harmony. A lot of classical musicians don't understand the harmonic progression of the music that they play. A jazz musician knows that right away, because when he improvises, he has to understand the harmonic progression. But classical musicians are usually not taught, especially in Germany, that I don't know. I tried to do that with my students because I also wanted them to learn to at least learn rudimentary jazz improvisation, and that's why I started the jazz big band when I came to Würzburg in 1983. Gave it to a colleague, a saxophone player, teacher of mine in 1985, because he needed the extra hours, and he was driving from Munich, and his name is Leszek Sadlo, and or it might have, I think about 1985 or 1987, it doesn't matter. And then later suggested that Mr. Richard Robley, he came to my studio in 1987, was looking for work. I think it's important for you to help your colleagues also when they're looking for work, and, spread the wealth around a little bit. But my aim was for my students to have a rudimentary study of jazz improvisation and stylistic and big band, as well as classic and Baroque. And so my students learned. My last student at the conservatory, or the Hochschule für Musik, he actually did his final exam as a part of the Hochschule für Musik, which is the University of Music now, what's it called. He got a 1.0, and he played 6 or 7 instruments in his final examination. I didn't sit in the jury, of course, my colleagues did, but he got 1.0, which means he got 100%. And he played the Baroque trumpet, and he played the cornet in A and the cornet in B flat, he played the low F trumpet. I have a French F bass and low F trumpet that he played, a piece from Verdi, original piece. And he also played the rotary valve B flat trumpet and piston valve C trumpet, and amazing. His name's Jürgen Weyer, and actually this trumpet belongs to Jürgen. I sold it to him because I'd made my own trumpet, and this one and the other silver one that I'm going to play for you too, just for comparison. That's it here. And in any event, Jürgen played with me also in my Munich brass, or still plays with me in my Munich brass quintet that I started in 1982, 83 in Munich. Was asked to play a composition by man in Heinz Störling. He'd written a piece for brass quintet and orchestra. And so I asked my friend, colleague from the German brass, Mr. Konradin Groth, to come to Munich and play second trumpet with me in those productions, and then, or those first concerts. And then later, Josef Biedelmeier, Sepp Biedelmeier, was my colleague trumpeter in the Munich Brass Quintet for a good 15 years. very, very fine trumpet player. He was the solo trumpet in the Bavarian Radio Orchestra at the time, which is the smaller orchestra where you do a much more dramatic and diverse musical things. As a matter of fact, I did some tours with Konstantin Wecker, playing first trumpet in that orchestra. I don't know what Zepp was doing. I think they needed somebody who could play a little bit more jazz and show music also, whatever. And anyway, Konstantin Wecker, who's a popular, what they in German call Liedermacher, popular songwriter and performer, wanted me to play on his tour. And Zepp was such a great guy, he didn't have any problem with that. So it's important to have the options of being able to approach different things. Zepp was such a great guy. When I came, the first rehearsals we did with Munich Brass, I came and he had a Bach B-flat trumpet and I had a Schilke B-flat trumpet. And this was after we did the recordings with Konrad Ingroth, who played a rotary valve trumpet, a Munka at the time, and I was playing a Schilke. Anyway, so the next rehearsal I did with Zepp, I came with a Bach B-flat trumpet. And he said, well, where's your Schilke? And I said, well, you're playing a Bach. I thought it would be better if we both played Bachs. And he said, oh, no, I like your Schilke much better. I'm going to buy a Schilke. So he bought a Schilke just to play with me in the quintet, a Schilke piston valve trumpet. And we also bought Schilke cornets and played a lot of romantic music on those cornets, especially the three quintets, romantic quintets from Victor Ewald that we recorded for Orfeo in the early 90s in Munich, Orfeo recordings. We did 3 or 4, and then I think there was some reason that I think it was Engelbert Schmidt who was playing horn at the time. Engelbert wanted me not to play anymore, and that didn't work because it was my quintet. But I left the quintet because he wanted to. I mean, whatever. I said to the other guys, if you're not with me on this, then do it yourself. So 3 months later, the trombonist Mick Steuart called me up. He said, I got a fistful of contracts and it's not the quintet without you. Will you come back to the quintet? And I said, sure. He said, well, who do you want to play horn? And I said, well, Engelbert, he's a great horn player. Well, Engelbert doesn't want to do that. I said, I know lots of other great horn players, but just because somebody makes a stupid mistake doesn't mean he can't change his mind. But anyway, Engelbert didn't come back, and we took a hornist who's now playing solo horn in the State Opera in Nuremberg. His name is Mickey Lösch, and Mickey played for a long time, Michael Lösch. So again, it's a question of how colleagues, treat and interact with each other, especially about the instruments that they play and the way they treat each other. I've been through a lot of stages with musicians, but I still have an ensemble. It's called Munich Brass. So Jürgen plays in it now, and I want to thank you for dropping in. You might be interested in checking out those Orfeo recordings. There are 3 or 4, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, see you again with the man with the horns, Richard Carson Steuart.